Hello, vintage gamers. Off-stream recorded league here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take No Props' newest version of Hogaak through a vintage league. This is Red Gak, or Hogaak Splashing Red. Basically, we're going to put in 4 Blazing Rootwallas and some ways to pump them as a way to give our Vengevines additional redundancy. And then we have some nice sideboard options versus the Tinker metagame with Pyroblast and Alpine Moon. A cool thing about this is that No Props is pretty active on social media and has posted a sideboarding guide, which you can find. I will make sure the link is in the description. The link is also in the pinned post of the Bazaar section of the Discord. If you're not already in the Discord, Discord's a great place to be to ask questions. So No Props here has listed out suggested sideboarding guide for some of the bigger matchups in the format. So I'm going to, at least follow that a little bit and take those suggestions into account when I'm sideboarding for this league. The article is originally in Japanese, but Google Translate does a okay job at conveying the points. So if you're okay with, filling in the dots a little bit, it can work out pretty well for you. So yeah, I'm just going to jump into a league. I'm going to play some matches with this deck, and hopefully it will be insightful, entertaining, and enjoyable. All right, we are jumping directly into round 1 of this league. It's worth noting something that's a little off topic here, but people continually ask me on Twitter and in Twitch, how is the vintage win trading situation? It's not good. It's not good. Just in the last few days, a large number of win traders appeared on the ladder and have been winning trophies between 2 and 10 a.m. Eastern time. And almost all of these players that you're seeing here, not all of these, obviously, Dead Style and Sajiro are people we play against. A large number of the current people who have trophies on Magic the Gathering Online in vintage leagues are not real players. If you go back in my tweets and pinned tweets, you'll see plenty of tweets on explaining how that works. But basically, people queue against themselves and then, go 5-0 and net a profit. This normally would not be a huge deal, but because the player base is so low, it results in actual vintage players having trouble finding matches. And now one of the things they are employing are dummy accounts to hold vintage players in matches so that they can pair against themselves. So they will take an account and they will play against me, and they will take no actions or as little actions as possible to hold me in queue for 25 minutes, or hold me in match for 25 minutes while they queue. That is extremely frustrating, and many vintage players are having a hard time continuing to play leagues because of this. If anyone knows anyone, at Wizards who works on Magic Online, or at Daybreak Games who works on Magic Online, and can please push this to them, I would be much obliged. I'm trying to tweet as much as I can at as many people who I think can help as I can. It is a huge problem right now for vintage Magic Online players. Anyways, back to your scheduled programming. Sorry, I feel like I had to address that one, because it is just every morning I wake up and I find out that, another vintage player is no longer playing leagues because, they want to play leagues in the AM for EU time, and that is when the win traders are out in full force. I just saw a tweet from Andrea Mangucci, who was going to make a vintage league video that would go on channel Fireball. That gets a lot of eyes. That draws people to the format. I love them. Great videos. But they had to stop because they got stuck with a win trader and, wasted everyone's time. Okay, so my opponent is playing Aggro Shops, which has had a little bit of a resurgence here. A nice Mana Crypt into Patchwork Automaton into Chalice play. Normally that would be quite good against a variety of the cards in the format. However, my current draw makes it look slightly bad. This is kind of an interesting thing. We actually can't lead Bazaar here. We probably have to wasteland this Saga. I think giving them access to a construct token would be a large mistake in our creature-based battle here. So I will start off by just removing their Saga, and then next turn we can do the Bazaar things, which is fine. It's not great, but it's not the end of the world either. Definitely a reasonably strong aggro shop start. However, it looks like no follow-up land means we should be pretty far ahead, especially drawing second hollow one here. So I'm going to, even Jet is a nice draw. I'm going to get rid of Blazing Rootwalla, Bloodghast, and I don't think I'm going to get rid of second Bazaar because my opponent could easily be having Wastelands in hand. So I'm going to get rid of Taiga, and then I am going to go Hollow One, Jet Shaman. And I guess I'm not going to go Hollow One, Jet Shaman because of Chalice of the Void. Ooh, close call. Okay, so in this situation, I believe I should have kept Taiga instead of Jet. Taiga is an awkward one because it only casts Deathrite Shaman and pumps Rootwalla, and it doesn't cast Stitcher Supplier, but obviously a Taiga is more useful than a Jet that I cannot cast. So, you know, waking up. It's okay. My opponent has missed on a land and conceded, which is fair. It's pretty hard for them to win from here. I just want to see what cards I would draw. Never mind. I will not see what cards I would draw. Yeah, overall, obviously, this is a completely winning board state. So let's consult our book of no props and see what they say about aggro shops. Aggro shops, no props, suggests 1 Beseiju, 1 Force of Vigor, losing 1 Bloodghast and 1 Rootwalla. Don't know exactly what this is implying. Doesn't have Alpine Moon. So we might want Alpine Moons for Sagas and Wastelands, to be honest. I'm going to consider that in a second. It's interesting that No Props does not bring in any collector oofs. On the play, we're going to bring in Chalice, but on the draw, we're not going to bring in Chalice. So from my experience playing Gak, I have some other opinions on cards to board out. I personally don't mind boarding out Bloodghast almost ever. So I think this is a totally reasonable board plan. I just am not convinced we don't want oofs. I don't know about Blood Moon or Alpine Moon. That kind of seems like overkill. Like, this is a pretty favorable matchup in general, I would say. Having access to Force of Vigor and large creatures that cost much less than our opponents. You know what? Let's give it a shot. Let's play with this sideboard tech for now and see how we feel. I can definitely see worlds where Collector Roof is bad. Like, if my opponent is a Null Rod based Patchwork Automaton version, then maybe Collector Roof is not very good there. But if my opponent is playing a Walking Ballista version, maybe like a Ravager Ballista version, then I could see it being, you might want to have Collector Roof. Collector Roof also gets a lot better when you play hands like this. I do think this is a keep. Obviously, you don't have access to Bazaar, but Hogaak does not need a Bazaar. Here, we get to have access to one of the extremely powerful card in Force of Vigor, but also we can deploy 2/1 drops on turn 1, which puts us pretty close to a Gak if we ever find a Gak. Puts us pretty close to a Vengevine because we'll have 4 mana on turn 2. This is assuming we don't have to use our Force of Vigor, obviously, but that's interesting though. I am surprised that no Collector Roofs are in the deck when it comes to the aggro shops matchup. I'll have to ask them about that one. I don't hate it because it doesn't feel necessary, but all right. So my opponent has kept a Foundry Inspector Grafdigger's Cage, and that's not going to be a huge deal because we're currently not going to use the graveyard. Even if we do, like maybe we cast Hogaak from our hand. So this naming Deathrite Shaman would probably be very annoying. I wouldn't like that. If my opponent follows all of this up with a sphere, though, we could definitely be in trouble. I should probably not accidentally F6 or anything. My opponent follows this up with a sphere. A thing to note is that our deck currently does not have any basics in the configuration, so we are susceptible to Wastelands. Definitely worth noting. I think in the blind, this should probably just always be Deathrite Shaman. You could name Lotus as well. You could name any Rootwalla as well, but I would suggest I'd probably just suggest Death Ray, even if you like didn't know I had a Death Ray, just in general in the blind. Looks my opponent's giving a quick think, maybe looking up a list. Nothing wrong with that. Use the power of the internet. Okay. A Blazing Rootwalla was named, which is, you know, it feels like not an unreasonable choice if you are unfamiliar. You've seen a Blazing Rootwalla, you haven't seen a Deathray Shaman. However, yeah, I would definitely recommend this one. Ooh, we actually did draw a Bazaar. That's kind of interesting. What do I want to do then? That certainly makes things quite awkward because I can't return a Vengevine this turn because of the cage that I elected not to kill. And I think it was very reasonable to elect not to kill the cage. I believe I'm still... So the biggest problem with playing 2 1-drops this turn is that I no longer have access to Vigor. Maybe that's fine. No, I'm just going to just use Bazaar. I mean, obviously it's annoying, but... Alright, so I'm going to put the Vengevine away. I'm going to put the Emerald away. And I'm going to put the Taiga away. And I'm going to hold the Hollow one. And I'm going to go for a Vengevine on my next turn. So I have Bizarre to play around Wasteland. And I have a Vigor to kill the cage. And I have a Catacombs plus Supplier to trigger my Vengevine. I think that makes the most sense. Okay. So unfortunately now I can't trigger the Vengevine via Supplier because I'm going to have to play a Bazaar. But that's okay as well. Here I'm gonna kill the Nettle Cyst, so I just have to take 5. Yeah, I think it's worth it to kill the cage and to get back my Vengevine here at some point. So I'm gonna just do that. I'm going to. So I could have held the Emerald and played a Deathray Shaman, but Deathray Shaman was my green card, so it's just a little awkward. This is also going to be awkward because I'm going to have to only be able to keep 2 cards. That is interesting. I don't have any mana for this, obviously, but like killing a Tolarian Academy would be pretty interesting here. But we're going to play another Bazaar. Maybe I'm not even going to activate Bazaar. That would be weird, wouldn't it? We can just hit. We still have 7 Rootwallas in our deck. We should just activate. Okay, yeah. So we hit Rootwalla, which is obviously extremely good. I'm gonna just get rid of these cards, bring my Rootwalla back in, or put my Rootwalla into play via Madness, put my Hollow one into play via Freeness, and bring back my Vengevine. So now my board is better than their board, and they only have 1 card left. We have a Bloodghast coming back. We've got a Stitcher Supplier coming down. We're in a good spot. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. That's very cool. That's a nice tech, actually. All right, that's a good last card to have here. Can hit my Bloodghast via targeted, and then eventually it will be large enough to block. I like that a lot. That is very good. Draw. Okay. I'm gonna activate first instead of like I could play Stitcher Supplier first, but then I can't like activate and play a hollow one or keep a hollow one. So I'm just gonna activate first, see what we draw. Obviously, we lose out on some amount of ability to gack in this way. Maybe we don't. We lose out on some ability to blood gas. No, we gain some ability to blood gas. Maybe it's just correct in general. Right, I'm going to use all my cards. So if this Stitcher Supplier hits a... What is this? I would like a green black land. If my Stitcher Supplier hits a Gak here, we're very, very well off. They did not hit a Gag here, though. So I'm just going to get in with these. However, if I had attacked pre-combat here, I would have been able to bring back my Vengevine if they blocked it. So, I don't know. There's a lot of intricacies in the sequencing there. I'm not convinced that the one I chose was correct, but I just kind of chose it on instinct. My opponent is out of cards, so if they don't draw a Tabernacle, it's a little hard for them. One of the cool things they can do now, though, is stand up their Hearse, block, exile 2 cards, and that would give them a 4/4 to trade, but I mean, 4/4 to trade is not good enough. I'm going to activate my Bazaar in upkeep here to maybe hit recurring cards. Because if I draw a card, then I have 3 cards and I have to discard 3 cards, so it doesn't really make sense to activate Bazaar after. So you want to activate it in upkeep. And I hit a Force of Vigor, which is actually quite a good draw here. I just need to find a green card to go with it. A question would be, am I swinging all? And the answer is yes. Obviously, that gives them some blocks, but they're at such a low life total that I want to force as much damage through as possible, and this is already a lethal attack with these 2, so it's likely they have to block at least one of these 2. I'll see what opponent chooses to do. Unfortunately, I don't have another land here. If I draw a land, then I can pump a Rootwall that's unblocked, and that would probably be enough. Interesting. Crew. Yep. So it looks like we're going to crew and block and activate. I would assume. Okay. Yeah, this is a reasonable block. My opponent's going to take 6 and go to 2. I'm going to lose my Vengevine and my Rootwalla. And they can activate their Hearse and eat my Vengevine. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. The problem is my opponent is not wide enough here. They only have 1 blocker, really. And so they are currently dead to the 1/1s. Even with a second blocker, they are still dead to the 1/1s. So, GG's. Interesting. We could have even waited a turn, hit him with a Vigor as well if we didn't have lethal. That would have been pretty nice. Well, Gak is definitely a beneficiary of having more shops in the metagame, as you can see. Very nice. Round 2. Oh, look who I found for round 2. The Lord Beerus. Now, will they be on Dredge, or will they be on something else? Dredge matchup is something I like to play from the Hogaak side. Game 1 is a little rough. You need to try to find a wasteland, but that's an interesting question. Do I go all in, assuming my opponent is on Dredge, and keep a wasteland Deathrite Shaman Dryad Arbor hand? Or do I put this back and look for something more acceptable? So the problem is, if I go for a more Gak related bizarre draw, it's just going to be too weak against Dredge, so you need to find a wasteland, Strip Mine, or Beseiju. The problem is, even though I've found a wasteland, a Strip Mine, or a Beseiju, this hand itself is just too weak, probably. If I could play a Deathrite on turn 1, I would probably just keep this hand. I put back Hollow 1, keep this exact hand with like a fetch land here would be pretty reasonable. However, this hand I think is just a little too weak. So even if my opponent is on Dredge, I think I have to put this back. Yeah, I think this is a hand I'm going to keep. At least we have a turn 1 Deathrite Shaman. This hand at least plays a little bit with a fair Gak draw. How many Bayous in our deck? We have a Taiga, a Bayou, and we have a Taiga, a Bayou, and a Badlands. So I think I actually have to keep this Bayou. It might cost us for our Gak, but I think having a black-green source is going to be extremely important. Oh, wait, I'm such an idiot. I'm not discarding to the yard. I'm discarding to the bottom of my library. Okay, I should have kept double fetch land there. There was absolutely no reason not to keep double fetch land there. Oh, my opponent is playing Doomsday. Never mind. Everything we thought about doesn't matter. We're just dead. Oh, fun deck. Fun deck. Everyone had fun. Good news is they don't know we're on Gak, theoretically. Oh, boy. Yeah, all right. So I'm actually just hundo percento dead. Not much to do here. This is the matchup that holds Gak back. I actually think Gak has a winning matchup versus the majority of top decks in the format. However, the Doomsday matchup is atrocious. So technically, we could hit Bazaar, hit double Vengevine, and a hollow one, and that would be winning. Okay, we didn't hit that. I do feel that, like, let's see. So if I went here, I would say Gak is favored versus Tinker versus Tempo. Obviously not the Mirror versus Dredge. Not favored versus Doomsday. Pretty reasonable versus Outcome. Favored versus Squee. Favored versus Sultai. Favored versus Shops. I don't know about Oath, but once you get down here, probably doesn't matter as much. So like, I actually think Gak is favored versus most of these top decks. However, the Doomsday matchup is very bad. You just do not have remotely the cards you need to play. So, No Props recommends Chalice, Pyroblasts, and 4 Collector Roofs. That is interesting. And recommends taking out 3 Vigors. Interesting. I guess isn't worried about Leyline of the Void. Interesting. I think this whole league I'm going to play with No Props' sideboard choices just because I'm interested. These are definitely different than what I would choose to do. Okay, yeah, so No Props does mention it. It says the only target of Vigor is Leyline and Mox, so you take it out and hit him with the beaters. Fair enough. Again, I'm not 100% sure I agree with that statement. Leyline of the Void is an annoying card, but maybe it's fine. So I am now looking for a powerful draw because I need to clock my opponent extremely fast, and I just don't think this is going to do it. Let's try again. This one could do it, so let's keep it. My opponent has access to 1 Tabernacle, which is worth mentioning here. I'm not going to have access to this Collector Roof, though, so I'm just going to go all in Bazaar. I'm not going to wait either. I think waiting would be a bad idea. I'm just going to put all my free power in play and hope that my opponent doesn't turn 1 Doomsday me again. I guess technically turn 1 Doomsday, not a huge issue because I would kill them on the swing back. However, turn 2 Doomsday, kill me on the same turn is where, oh my god. I don't understand why there's a Mindbreak Trap in my opponent's deck. But it definitely punished me for playing 2 Rootwallas. I'm just so befuddled by why there's a Mindbreak Trap in my opponent's deck. How often am I casting 3 spells? I guess in exactly this sequence where I mean, the good news is that my second hollow one would always have been Mindbreak Trap, so it's not like I really played into it that badly, but all right, well, I have no hollow ones. I don't think I'm ever playing around a Mindbreak Trap there. Okay, basic island. Ancestral. Fair enough. Shit. Well, I've certainly been defeated. Flusterstorm they kept in as well. Interesting. Maybe there's just not enough cards to board out. I just thought the Doomsday list had like a good sideboard for Dredge. Am I crazy? Like a Doomsday sideboard is 1 Tabernacle, 1 Island, 2 Fatal Push, 4 Leyline of the Void. They boarded in Mindbreak Trap. What? Huh? 1 Murktide Regent as well. I'm a little confused on what Beerus' sideboard plan is and why some of those cards came in, but like you can obviously take out negation, but I don't really see other cards that are like super bad. You can take out like negation. Like I feel like you're gonna be bringing in a large number of. Maybe you don't bring in Fatal Push because you don't actually care, but like I feel like you're at least bringing in 4 ley lines, a Murktide, an Island, a Tabernacle. So I feel like there's enough cards to cut. So I can choose not to take this strip mine and start getting pumps in. That's actually probably better. Do I want to get a... I would really like a Badlands, actually. So I could get a Taiga or a Bayou. But I want a black source, so I have to get a Taiga. Alright, I'm actually just going to keep the Badlands, because I think having access to all my colors is more important. Yeah. I think getting the extra damage here is going to be better than strip mining them. And that could be wrong, but like it's not. If it was an underground sea, I would maybe consider strip mining more, but sure looks like this ancestral is killing us. Yeah, okay. Cool. Yep, demonic, doomsday. So as long as they have a cantrip after, we are deterministically dead, which is, I don't know. I would just say that we're deterministically dead when our opponent led this first game with Dark Ritual Doomsday. It is a reoccurring theme on this channel. But I think it's actually pretty good. I think it's actually pretty good to see because this is a really nice highlight of the strengths and weaknesses of Hogaak deck. Game 1, we got to play against Shops, and we actually absolutely just took it to him. And Game 2, we got to play against Doomsday, and absolutely got wrecked. So I don't think there's I think there is something nice about being able to see that. Obviously not nice for me, but... Okay, more Hogaak action. Ready, set, go. This is a great hand. Big fan. Would play this hand again. Just needs a Vengevine, right? Any Viners? Any Viners? No Viners. All right, so I'm going to get rid of Rootwalla, Bloodghast, and a extra Stitcher Supplier. And I'm going to play a Hollow One and a Deathrite Shaman. Oh, got a Force. Pitching a Kappa Cannoneer. That's exciting. That is exactly exciting, actually. Wonder. Oh, and a misstep. Wow. Okay, so my efforts have been thwarted. However, my opponent is on a low number of follow-up cards. So let's see what happens. Any Seats of the Cyanod, maybe. Oh, Gataxian Probe. They've used up 5 of their life points. Sapphire, Mana Vault, Opal, Pio. Oh shit. Okay, fair enough. I don't have a Vigor in my hand, so nothing to do. Oh, so there is a Seat of Cyanod. Okay, and then what? Time Walk. Sure. Yeah. Yep. All right, down to 1 card left in their hand. I guess I just have to hope they never draw another PO. A Kappa Cannoneer would have been pretty brutal too. Key, okay, and that's it. That's it. All right. All right. Well, we don't have a clock yet. Okay, so I'm just gonna. We actually don't have access to double green black creatures because I don't have my Emerald does not pay for my Stitcher Supplier, and my Deathrite Shaman was misstepped. Blazing Rootwalla does not cast Hogaak, at least the black green part of Hogaak. So awkward to say the least here. I would have loved to get a Hogaak into play on this turn. That would have greatly increased my chances of winning this game. Don't know how good Wastelanding is, but I mean, Wastelanding obviously gets my Bloodghast in play, so I'm definitely going to do it, but I'm not sure how good actively Wastelanding the Seat is going to be for us. Unfortunately, this Emerald, yeah, like basically just only paid for Deathrite Shaman, and when Deathrite Shaman did not resolve, it was a sad day. Oh wow, top deck Thoughtcast is a good one. 1 mana, draw 2 into a Soul Ring, and that it? Is that it? That looks like Tinker. Wait, why is the Manifold Key tapped? Oh, they're doing... Oh, that's okay. Oh, okay, all right, fair. No Bizarres till post-combat. They found a Time Twister. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah, I don't think I'm winning this game. Well, I do have to kill this Narset, or I will die. More than I would die before. Yeah. We have been beaten by the power. I don't know if, like... We might have had a reasonable chance here if we hadn't gotten misstepped. Like, we would have a Gak in play. But even then, it would be pretty rough. I'm going to attack this Narset. I wonder if I'm supposed to hold my Bazaar activation until I get twisted. So I can Bazaar end step. Maybe that's like... Because if I activate here... It's extremely hard for me to get a Gak in play. I would have to hit exactly like, I don't know, double Blood Gas plus, no, I would have to hit exactly like double Rootwalla or something. I'm going to just hold my Bazaar activation. Let them, when they Twister, if I get another turn, I can do an end step Bazaar and a my turn Bazaar and maybe kill them with Vengevines or something. That's what I'm going to hold out hope for here. It's not a lot of hope because I am obviously still getting twisted, and my opponent is a deck with... Oh, never mind. My opponent's going to top deck Tinker. Who needs Time Twister anyways? All right, so my opponent is going to get a Time Vault and take infinite turns. I'm going to concede. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So we don't... We know my opponent is on like an 8 cast or, you know, like a Tinker-based deck. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring in lots of good stuff here. I want to bring in a Chalice. We know they're also on PO. We don't know if they're on Sagas. I would say it's likely, but we're gonna bring in Vigors and Oofs and Beseju and Pyroblast and Alpine. How do we bring in 11 cards? Is this how many cards we're bringing in? No props. 11 cards. Okay. And we're gonna take out the Blazing Rootwallas. I assume the Bloodghast, some Bloodghast, some Suppliers, some... Wow, that's an incredible amount of cards. We're also gonna... They want us to take out Hogaak, Vengevine, Hollow One. Okay, I don't like that very much. I don't like that very much. I do not want to take out Hollow One, Vengevine. I'm okay with going down Suppliers and a Gak, but I would rather just take out more Bloodghasts. I also probably would go to 2 Gak and keep a 3rd Supplier. This is how I usually configure this, I believe. All right, so that has a lot of cards to stop the menace. But my opponent is obviously playing PO, so we want Chalice. They're probably playing Saga because they have seats. We would like Blood Moon or... all right, I'm going to keep this hand. Obviously, it's a little bit on the weaker side, but I feel like Collector Roof is the way to go in this matchup. If our opponent is playing Seat of the Cyanod, it makes a lot of sense to be heavily on Collector Roof plan. So here I have like a lot of good options with my... Once upon a time, if I hit a Bazaar, I can still do Bazaar things, obviously. But if I don't, I could even hit like a Deathrite Shaman, and it's quite good. However, I did not miss, but I'm just going to take a second Collector Oof as that is going to give me some redundancy against counter magic. So this looks really bad, honestly. We don't have access to any of our Vigors. We don't have access to Pyroblast. We don't have access to anything. I don't really regret the keep. I think the keep is fine, but like I'd really like to hit maybe a Deathrite Shaman or a... I don't know. This is another example of I would really like to have Elvish Spirit Guide in the deck. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's a good hand. in my lists that I was testing for the mocks with, I was playing some Elvish Spirit Guides because you can find Elvish Spirit Guide off of Once Upon a Time and it lets you cast turn 1 Collector Oof. And I think being able to cast turn 1 Collector Roof is very important, and currently this list doesn't have access to it. Yeah. All right. We have been tinkered. I mean, they didn't even cast Tinker this game. They just had the restricted artifact draw. I don't know. It's possible I'm just supposed to mulligan that hand because I don't actually have access to anything on turn 1, but it's hard to say. Brutal. Savage. Wrecked. Okay, on to round 4. Up against Surge. Surge is becoming a staple of these videos. Nice hand here. Let's do it. I typically like to cast Once Upon a Time pre-Bazaar, which gives me access to Vengevine Pitches. However, here it's going to give me access to a Hollow One. Or maybe we actually get a Stitcher Supplier because we could go like Black Lotus Stitcher Supplier. And then we can play a Gak possibly. I wonder if that's better than just getting a Hollow One. I would say probably not. I've never actually had this come up. So if I was the Black Lotus Stitcher Supplier, could even just hard cast Gas. I mean, I probably wouldn't hard cast Gas. I would probably then I would hit Bazaar. So this is 3 cards, 4 cards. Plus Bazaar activation. Yeah, I mean, I think this is an interesting line. I want to try it. I'm going to go... Obviously, this runs into Mental Misstep pretty badly. It also lets me draw additional suppliers off of Bazaar of Baghdad. It lets me hit Bloodghasts off of my supplier and bring them into play. It seems like there's a lot of upside here. All right, I hit nothing off of that except cards I would have liked to cast off my Black Lotus. So that's the downside, obviously. If I had drawn with Black Lotus, I would have drawn Deathray Shaman, Stitcher Supplier. Deathray Shaman. I don't know actually how that order is, but say I drew Stitcher Supplier, Deathray Shaman, could have played them both here. I mean, we still ended up with all the goodies. So I'm gonna... Do I have enough cards here where I can pitch Gak? Looks like I put a Rootwalla into play and I exile those top 5. Yeah, so I have enough cards here to pitch to Gak. And keep an extra Bazaar in case. So it worked out in the sense that it worked out in the sense that I am going to cast a Gak this turn. However, Gak can get forced. Okay, so I mean, turn 1, 11 power is definitely on the stronger side of things. We also still have a Bloodghast coming back. But of course, I can get combo kill. Ooh, another Bazaar. See, I'm not sure if they're Dredge. This makes a lot of sense. But if they're, I guess if they're a Hogaak Mirror, then... Okay, if they are Dredge. The good news is I kept a Wasteland, which means we are in great shape here. They can only Dredge once per turn, unless they have another Bazaar in their hand. If they have another Bazaar in their hand, things get kind of dicey. Okay, so I am just going to... Yep, I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to do... Oh, I have actually a Deathrite Shaman activation. Like I could eat up my own Bazaar and play another. That doesn't really do anything for me. All right, I'm just gonna bring back my Bloodghast, kill everything, and attack in with everybody. I think we're in very good shape unless our opponent having a second Bazaar in their hand could be a problem. Like if opponent dredges 5 and then they dredge another 10. Well, their dredge hit double chill, so that helps the life total swing. Puts us back to parity. No, they're actually ahead on life total now. That's kind of crazy. All right. It looks like they don't have anything though, so they're off it. That is really, really nice. Being able to steal a match versus Dredge on game 1 is very lucky. Obviously, we probably would have lost that match if we were on the draw. But this matchup, I think, is very favorable post board. But game 1, it can be kind of challenging because they do a stronger thing than you. Pretty straightforward sideboard plan for this one, though. We're going to bring in our Graveyard Hate. So we're going to bring in Leyline of the Void. We're going to bring in Alpine Moon for Bazaar. We're going to bring in Boseiju for Bazaar, and we're going to bring in Vigor for Leyline of the Void and Hollow One. Cool thing about Alpine Moon is it is not symmetrical, which I always forget. And then we get to sideboard cards out. Interesting. I would definitely sideboard out a large number of Bloodghasts if I were me. So let's just quickly show what no props would sideboard out. Bloodghasts. Yeah, I mean, Blazing Rootwallas are also graveyard dependent because they're pretty much only for Vengevine, so that makes sense. A Vengevine and a Gak and a Stitcher Supplier. That is interesting. I am kind of the opinion I would never board out at Vengevine. Well, maybe not never, but I would rather not board out Vengevines. But I guess this is a matchup where they're attacking your graveyard at a heavy rate. Again, I'm not 100% sure I like that exact 8, but I think I like the ideas of that 8. So let's try it. Kind of I'm not a huge sideboard guide person. I don't really like sideboard guides, but using sideboard guides in certain ways can be helpful. And I think like the way I like to use sideboard guides is to see how my opponent, to try to infer how the sideboard guide writer wants the matchup to play out, and try to understand what you can learn from the ideas of what they chose to board in, and then, you know, mix and match based on the idea instead of on the exact numbers. However, you know, like I said, I'm going to try just following the exact board plan here, just for educational purposes. But I mean, that's how I typically use any sideboard guides I find. I almost never follow a guide exactly. I think you should probably never follow a guide exactly. A lot of builds differ. Lots of like little things can make you don't want to fall into a trap where a sideboard guide is hindering your game. So my opponent did not have a Leyline. They are still activating their Bazaar. I had a Leyline, which is always nice. I had access to Vigors for their Leyline, but that didn't happen. My opponent has exiled some Cads. See if they have a Vigor. I guess they should wait. They shouldn't Vigor in my upkeep because I don't have any way to stop them from Force of Vigoring. So they could hit maybe a Hollow One with this Vigor as well. I'm going to start by getting rid of some bad cards and putting cards in my graveyard. So I'm definitely going to keep lands and Hollow One. I believe what I'll do here is not play this Hollow One because multiple reasons. One, I want to be able to trigger my Vengevine. I need to cast 2 spells in a single turn. Keeping a Hollow One will help me for that. 2, playing a Hollow One here gives them extra value of Layla. Like, they have to hit this with Force of Vigor or they can't win the game. So playing this Hollow One allows the Force of Vigor to hit both the Leyline and the Hollow One. So I think not playing the Hollow One is definitely correct in that situation. So my opponent is now down to 1 card. Activate in upkeep, put 3 cards in the yard. How many dredgers? 2 small dredgers. And another Bazaar. Interesting. Dredge is now happening. Hit a 4-cost dredger. Okay, so things are going to get out of control pretty quickly. We need to find access to another wasteland. Or not another wasteland, a wasteland. Interesting. So I think I might play Black Lotus Supplier and try to hit more Vengevines and more Bloodghast and that kind of thing. Maybe I don't need to do it pre-activation. Oh, that is something I didn't consider, is we could have held Black Lotus and drew into a ley line. That was actually really dumb of me. So I believe I probably should have activated Bazaar first there then. I didn't really think about that kind of thing. Yeah. I found the wasteland though, so that's good news. So I shouldn't need... They're going to be dredging for the rest of the game. I shouldn't need another Bazaar at this point. I'm just going to bring back my Vengevine, and this feels pretty winning. I believe I should have just activated this Bazaar. I didn't really think about Lotus casting Leyline. But, all right, so now my opponent is on just dredging. They have a Dredge 3 in their hand, and they have a Dredge 4 and a Dredge 3 in their yard, and I have 9 power. I would say we are very favored from here. Okay, they get 3 life back. Actually, this is really good for them. They hit Chill, and Chill is gonna bring back Silver Smoke Ghoul, and Silver Smoke Ghoul is gonna bring back 2 Prize of Outcomes. Okay, so I'm no longer feeling super favored from here. They only have 1 Dredger left, but they have a lot of cards coming into play. We obviously outsized them a little bit, but a Deathrite Shaman is a great draw. However, I can't keep my land. So maybe I'm not actually supposed to activate Bazaar at all there. Maybe I'm supposed to hold my Bazaar activation so that I can keep 2 cards. The Deathrite Shaman may end up being quite important here. Unfortunately, I'm not even really clocking my opponent because of the Creeping Chill being so powerful of a life swing. So my opponent can swing back to 9, puts me, yeah, so it's actually kind of an interesting situation. So we have 1 more Dredge from our opponent. They hit a Stinkweed him, so now they have another Dredge. Okay, so are you going to attack here? Attacking here would put me to 8, and I wouldn't be able to kill. Okay, so they're not going to attack here. Rootwalla. All right, so I'm going to just swing with my... So if they block, if I attack here, block. I'm not activating Bazaar this turn because I need to keep 2 cards to play Deathrite Shaman. So I'm just going to attack with this. If they make trades, it's okay. Sure. Oh yeah, obviously that's a much better block than what I was suggesting. It's possible I'm not even supposed to attack at all there. Kind of interesting. So my opponent has another 1 Dredge here for 5. It hits another Chill, and it also hit another Dredger and 2 Icarids. Yeah, I think we're actually losing from here. I probably would win this game if I had not played my Stitcher Supplier and had drawn into Leyline, which is interesting. So I do think it's probably my user error that we are losing this game currently, but the good news is we can probably... Oh, God, they gain 3 life, so they bring back Ghoul. Okay, yeah, we are very dead here. Wow. I made some serious errors in this game. It's not, like, super straightforward that... like, super straightforward that I'm supposed to hold my thing and find a ley line, but activating Bazaar gives me more information, so it's possible just playing a Stitcher Supplier there was horrible. Especially because activating Bazaar doesn't cost me a land drop, so it's not like I'm preserving Bloodghast or anything like that. All right, I'm just going to swing with my Vengevine. I do think that the race is important, and I have some reasonable blocks still. Maybe it's not actually reasonable blocks, seeing as I have to block 2 things. Oh, wait, no, they have 2 Icarids. So am I just dead on board without having to block everything? No, they don't have enough creatures in their yard. So I would say this Ichorid probably eats itself, or not itself, but eats another Ichorid. So they get one Ichorid back, and they still have a Dredge 5. They might not even... I'm interested, because it's not exactly great to bring back Ichorid here. Okay, so they did eat an Ichorid with an Ichorid, and they have one Dredge 5 happening. They have 12 power in play, but I have a nice Stitcher Supplier block on an Ichorid. They hit a Narcomoeba and another Dredger and a Silver Smoke Ghoul. Okay. These have been some pretty solid one-turn Dredges, I have to admit. Okay, so I can block Silver Smoke Ghoul. No, I can block Ichorid, and I can go to 2. Okay, I'm gonna block the Silver Smoke Ghoul 2. That feels reasonable. They already have a Silver Smoke Ghoul in their yard anyways. Well, this lets them eat a Silver Smoke Ghoul and bring back an Ichorid next turn. That might still be fine. I can always eat the Ichorid. I'm going to just block the 2 things that look profitable here. I get a mill. Do I have any Gaks? I did hit a Gak. I hit 2 Gaks. So if I had kept in my Rootwalla, it would have been a lot better for me, because now I don't actually have access to Gak plus Deathrite activation unless I hit... Oh, well, now I can hit a land... A Rootwalla. Fuck. That's unfortunate as well. I do think it's correct to activate an upkeep, but if I had activated on my turn, I actually would have hit this Rootwalla, and I would have been able to play a Gak and eat the Ichorid. So now they have an Ichorid coming back. So I think I have to just play Rootwalla and use Gak off of... Oh, I get a Vengevine back. Play Gak off of this. And then now I need to look at some math on this attacks. Gak here is very good, obviously. Trample here. They're going to bring back an Ichorid, and they'll have 9 power. I can block with Gak, and I would take 7. I can block with Vengevine and Gak and take 4. I think I need to actually hold all of my creatures. If they hit a 3rd Creeping Shell off of their Dredge 4, I don't think I can play around that. I think I attack with 1 Vengevine. It's giving me 2 blockers. I would go to 1, but then they would be dead to Hogaak. I think I need this Hogaak to be closer to lethal. I also have a Deathrite Shaman, but I don't have a black source. I could have chosen a black source, right? But then I wouldn't have had a... It was a bad land, so I wouldn't have had a green source, which I felt like I was going to eat the Ichorid at the time. But obviously I didn't hit the right cards to eat the Ichorid and play a Gak. Okay. They dredged and hit 2 Narcomoebas, which means they might have a reasonable attack now, because they have... No, because they have to have enough blockers for Gak. So they might actually just have no attack here. They did hit another Dredger, though. A small Dredger, obviously. Kind of interesting game, though. I definitely feel like I could have played this better and left myself in a vulnerable position. So my opponent probably can't attack at all because they need to be able to block Hogaak. Actually, even if they like quadruple block Hogaak, block here, they still die on board. They might actually just be dead then. So if they chump, double block Hogaak. It's pretty close. They're all pretty close to dead here. Yeah, I mean, this is free, but obviously it just gets eat. I also have a Blood Gas that can come back into play. I'm still going to upkeep, activate Bazaar. And then draw. Wasteland. Okay, so that brings back Blood Gas, and that should just be extremely lethal. I didn't exactly do the math here, but this is 8. I don't know. I guess I probably should attack with Deathray Shaman. Now the Rootwallas is an extra 3 damage, and the Bloodghast is an extra 3 damage, so... Or sorry, extra 2 damage, extra 3 damage. I probably should have attacked with this Deathray Shaman. I don't know why I didn't attack with the Deathray Shaman. I don't know why. So if this chumps here and these double block here, that takes down to 1. Okay, yeah, actually not attacking with this Deathray Shaman is going to cause me to not win the game on this turn. That was a little silly. Wow. All right, do the combat math, folks. What I can do is I can eat their Dredger. Oh no, I have to pump to save my Rootwalla. I can just not save my Rootwalla. Kind of not important. Okay, I'm just gonna let this happen. And then I'm going to eat their Dredger so that they can't hit a Creeping Chill, and that should just be fine. Okay, I should have attacked with Deathray Shaman. That would have been lethal, but obviously I messed up and did not do that. If they want to bring back their Icarid, I just don't really care, because bringing back Prized Amalgams is not going to save them. I'm going to go to 4 or whatever, and they can't Dredge here. So the only way they win is if they draw exactly their 1 Bazaar in 27 cards. Even if they draw their 1 Bazaar, actually, they have no Dredgers in their yard, so that doesn't work anyways. So I think this is also probably deterministic, but just kind of slower deterministic. We've kind of had an interesting league here. Nice, at least a nice matchup spread. That's always cool. Okay, 5th and final match. The deciding factor. Will we go 3-2? Up against turn 1 Tinker, who, been switching it up a little bit, but a lot of the times goes turn 1 Bazaar. This would be a hand that you could keep against turn 1 Bazaar, but not a hand you could keep against turn 1 Tinker. I think it's just too weak, too risky. Let's put it back. This is a much better hand, has Bazaar and Wasteland. I'm very, very happy to keep. I would like to get rid of Stitcher Supplier. All right. What do you got for us? Is it turn 1 Tinker or is it turn 1 Bazaar? Turn 1 Tinker it is. Okay. Don't Doomsday me. I swear to God. Oh, turn 1 Deathrite Shaman. Okay. Well then. Little switcheroo. I'm going to put a hollow one in play. Thank you for playing. Don't really want Vigors here. I just want to... I don't want to put the Hogaak in the yard because I don't want it to get eaten. Just going to do this. Oh, I forgot to put the forgot to put the Rootwall in the yard. Oops. Exclamation mark F6. He plays too fast, makes too many misplays. Unwatchable stream. Actually, something that is not infrequent on Magic Online is for Bazaar players and Hogaak and Vine players to just kind of like, I don't know what it is. It's a kind of phenomenon. You like lose sight, you lose your tunnel vision. I don't know. I've definitely talked with Zajad about it a little bit, but sometimes you discard all your hollow ones, and sometimes you don't discard the right cards. It all kind of blends together. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think I would. It's not a huge deal because it's unlikely that I would be able to attack with this Rootwalla anyways, but it's definitely a little annoying. It might be even a good play because my opponent, interesting. Like maybe I draw Vengevine and I can trigger Vengevine next turn, but obviously I think I wanted to pitch the Rootwalla. Just like pitch Rootwalla to Vigor maybe. Opponent to Time Walk and eat my Stitcher Supplier, which is going to keep me away from Hogaak. I don't actually have access to mana of a colored variety to play my own Deathrite to counter their Deathrite at the moment. But I would like that because that would give me access to double green creature to play my Gak. Bug is a matchup that I think that Gak is favored in. I don't think it's like a huge amount. Some people will tell you it's a huge amount. Oh, wow, they drew Wasteland. But I think it's a totally... So now I am very much regretting not having a Basking Rootwall in play, obviously. So now I feel extremely like this is pretty rough. Yeah, like I said, this is definitely a matchup where like Deathrite Shaman Bug deck has the tools to beat Gak in terms of Deathrite Shaman and Wasteland, but doesn't have like the removal to beat a resolved Gak. They have like Oko, but it doesn't exactly doesn't always enough. But I mean, this is a draw where you have the correct cards for the matchup for sure. Deathrite, Wasteland, Oko. And a Moxen, because no bug draw would be complete without a nice Moxen. Oh, should I have said 2 Moxen? Hold on, I need to screenshot this for Slasher because it's a classic. All right, I feel extremely. Okay, that's a good draw for me. That is a very good draw for me. So now I'm going to attack Oko, obviously. Don't want that stuff happening too much. Though I don't think they even block because they can make 2. I'm going to just get this Deathrite in play. I'm pretty far from Gak, but... And even if I get a Gak, it's really not great because my opponent should still have an alive Oko. So this is bad. This is obviously the kind of draw you want to see if you're the bug pilot in this matchup. The kind of draw you don't want to see from the other... Like if I had put multiple Vengevines in play on turn 1, that's the kind of thing bug does not handle very well. But if I, slow on the draw, and my opponent has, active Deathrite Shaman, multiple Moxen, Oko. Interesting. That's an interesting plus. Another interesting thing is that makes my Hollow One green, so I could actually use it to cast Gak, which is pretty funny to me. So I can play a Rootwalla is 1, 2, 3. I can play a Wasteland is 4, 5, 6. So I'm actually just 1 mana short of a Gak here. It's quite bad for me. Don't really see a good way about this. I think what I'm gonna do is trade off. God, I don't know. They just drew too many Moxen. It's pretty much impossible for me to kill this Hogaak. Or sorry, kill this Oko. Slip of the tongue. Yeah, I don't really see my way forward here. I think what I'm going to do is cycle this Hollow One at the end of turn. I don't know. The problem is, even if I get a Gak in play, it's going to become an Elk. And I don't really have the resources to like play another Gak or anything like that. I think we're just going to be, unfortunately, out-controlled by this Oko Deathrite Shaman. Only really because my opponent drew double Moxen, though. If my opponent didn't draw double Moxen, they have to spend turns making food, and I think we would have been okay. But because they have a lot of access to free Elks... Oh, wow, they drew a Wasteland. Okay, I'm off it. I've been sufficiently bugged out. Let's try again. I don't even know if Bug is a deck that is inside of the sideboard guide. Oh, it is. Okay, cool. Pyroblasts for Leovold and Oko. I like that. Okay. And then Force of Vigor. I don't know about extra Force of Vigor. I'm not thrilled with that idea. It must just because of Leyline. And then you're just taking out a Bloodghast, a Stitcher Supplier, and a Blazing Rootwalla. That seems fair. Though I probably would take out more. I don't know. Those are the cards that I would look to take out. I don't know if they're the cards in the correct numbers I would take out, but Yeah, interesting. Having access to Pyroblast to kill Oko is cool. I have never done that before. Inside of Gak, obviously. Ah, yeah. That is it's funny how I was mentioning how I think that you know, Gak is favored versus Bug, but I guess I'm not favored versus that Bug draw. I will tell you that much. All right. Now we're on the play. We know we're playing against Bug. This hand is not very good. This is this Taiga not being a black source has come up multiple times. I'm not sure the deck building problems. Like a normal a normal Hogaak list will have 3 Bayous, right? And these Taigas would always be Bayous, and I would always be able to play Citrus Supplier. Like I don't think I'm going to keep this hand, but like the hand gets a lot closer if you can cast Citrus Supplier. Definitely very annoying that I keep having the Taiga draw when I need to cast a black card. My opponent kept a 7-card hand. This hand doesn't do anything. Let's try again. Okay. Hopefully they don't have a ley line. I'm going to get rid of Wasteland and second Deathrite Shaman. No ley line. Okay. I wonder if there's any upside to playing Deathrite on turn 1 here. I don't think it's unreasonable. It makes their Deathrite turn 1 worse. I don't know if this is correct. It makes me... It's not like I have a really high octane start either. Maybe this is silly. It's just like, what am I doing with a Bizarre activation, whereas I'm actually advancing my game plan here and maybe stifling their game plan? It's possible. I don't know. That's something I'd have to think on a little bit more. But it felt... My gut instinct was telling me that would be better. Kind of another rough set of mulligans, though. Mulling to 5 on the play versus... Yeah, all right. So we played around that one a little bit. If we had like played a hollow one, it would have died. Would have been unfortunate. I did put my wasteland on the bottom, though, so that is a huge issue. Hmm. Well, I no longer need this vigor because I know they don't have a ley line. Think I don't want to... It's going to be pretty hard for me to pay for this Vengevine anyway, so I'm just going to get rid of Gak, Force, Vengevine, and then attack, I guess. Pretty far behind. Not behind, but like we're not... what I mean is we don't have a very strong play, and my opponent has infinite cards. I guess that's still technically behind, right? It feels weird to say behind when we have 3 things in play and our opponent has a land that doesn't make any mana, but it's probably still technically correct. All right, so my opponent has Wasteland Tabernacle. Okay. So I still have not much going for me here. Can I play this Hogaak? No. I was thinking maybe I play Dryad Arbor, tap 2, play Hogaak, but I'm actually just a little bit short. I have a second Bazaar, though. Another Vengevine, and a Wasteland of my own. All right, so new plan. If I can find access to another creature, I can play Gak, and we're in pretty good shape. Like, so if I draw like another, it's kind of, yeah, if I draw like a Deathrite Shaman, I could use Deathrite Shaman to make a green. Oh, that won't work either. Kind of needed to keep this Dryad Arbor, but I felt like it was pretty bad to get rid of the Wasteland. Maybe that's silly. Another Wasteland. Okay, well, no Bazaars for Justin. So like my, oh my fucking god. Okay. We're very dead, aren't we? Okay. I was enduranced, so now I have not much of anything. I think what I'm gonna do here is just cycle a hollow one. Interesting. I mean, that was a very protective 7-card hand from our opponent. Double Wasteland Tabernacle Endurance. They also have a Deathrite. Well, they also have a Moxen. No one could have seen this coming. And a Tarmogoyf, okay. So unfortunately, this is gonna make the Tarmogoyf kind of big, but I don't really think I want to kill the Tabernacle. Maybe it doesn't, like, unfortunately, they have this Moxen, which means I can't, like, Wasteland their Tropical Island and make them lose their Goyf, which is another classic. I might still Wasteland their Tropical Island to be completely upfront, though. Makes it pretty hard to clear out everything, though. Shit. Maybe I just have to waste this Tabernacle. Oh, they're gonna do that? All right, well, in that case, I'm gonna hit this Tropical Island. Okay. There's like 2 cards in their deck that are blue instants for 1. It's Brainstorm and Ancestral, and I felt it's pretty unlikely they had that, but they did. They most certainly did. All right, I mean, this is too rough. I think we're dead. Oh my lord. Bug things. Bug things. Yes, of course. I love bug things. Okay, I mean, I'm gonna get Hardcast Endurance here, right, when I attack. Actually, Fetch Land was probably one of my better draws. Lets me use this Deathrite Shaman and bring back Bloodghast if it gets Enduranced. Okay, man, these have been some brutal games. What is this? Dig through Hole Breacher? Interesting bug list. Yeah, at least they have to pay 2 for Tabernacle, I guess. I might want to eat now so that I don't have to worry about Cruise, maybe. We're not really winning this race now, are we? It's close, but it's not great. Another hollow one is fairly unfortunate. The good news is I can eat my own hollow one and shrink this Goyf. Oh no, I can't shrink the Goyf yet. All right, well, I guess in that case, I should just eat this endurance. Because they drew Black Lotus, so that actually is the artifact. So I can't double shrink like I was hoping. They're at 9. I'm at 11. I'm at 5. This is another Death Ray. This is a Death Ray Shaman. Man. Very brutal. Very, very brutal. This is so hard. Oh, I can't even play the hollow one with this Bazaar. I can't do anything with this Bazaar. There's a whole Breacher in play. I can use it to bring back Bloodghast, though, if they block. So, not nothing. But unfortunately, I am stupid far behind. Oh, I can't actually even survive. Oh, I can survive an attack. It's going to go... Okay. So my opponent has to have nothing here for this to work, but I think it's better than... Like, I have to tap out, right? So I think it's fine. I mean, Tabernacle, I feel like, has hurt my opponent more than it has hurt me this game, but it didn't really matter, because I think they just had too much action, right? Double Wasteland Endurance, Leovold, Hull Breacher, Tarmogoyf, Deathray Shaman, Moxen, Tabernacle. It was a rough one. Black Lotus, just very strong game. All right, so this is coming in. I'm going to 2. I can't shrink this Goyf any further. I also have no blockers. Looks quite bad for me. They have another Deathray Shaman? Wow. Okay. There's really no attack to be made here. Or I can at least save a mana by putting it in my yard and playing Bizarre. Unfortunately, I can't draw any cards, so nothing is actually good. Even if I attack and eat, it's just not gonna work out. All right, we've been vanquished, and not a 3-2, a 2-3. Definitely don't think my play was superb in this set. The list is interesting. We didn't actually end up ever casting an Alpine Moon or a Pyroblast, so it was kind of... We didn't get to see that, but we won the games we won by a lot and lost the games we lost by a lot. I would say, you know, Doomsday is obviously a pretty much impossible matchup, but these two the Tinker matchup and the Bug matchup are definitely matchups you can win with the right set of cards. We didn't have the right set of cards, so felt a little bit brutal. But overall, I mean, that's Gak, that's Vintage. This is definitely one of the best decks in the format, Gak. Like I feel like you only had one unfavorable matchup in 5 rounds. Obviously, we lost these 2, but that's, you know, you can lose unfavorable matchups. That is how Magic works. I'm not sure exactly if I like this red build. The idea of having Vengevines be more consistent is definitely something I like, and the idea of having Pyroblasted Moons does vibe in my head. However, it didn't really pan out. Mostly, I just like kept getting annoyed that I drew Taiga when Taiga could have been a Bayou, and I couldn't cast my Citrus Supplier. But that's just probably small variance, small sample size. The mana does look a little awkward, though, when you start to have, you know, Boseiju, Dryad Arbor, 3 different lands. Not 100% sure there. Thank you for watching. I release videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if that's something you're interested in watching more vintage, this is the place to be. I stream on Wednesdays and Saturdays, though my Saturdays have been a little out of whack with some summer activities happening. However, most Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, most Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/IamActuallyLevel1. I will see you there or in the next video.